Hi, drawing. Let's take a look at what you have to do for this week's assignment. So for this week's assignment, so this is going to be your final drawing for this class, for our class. And you are going to, for Sunday, you're going to set up I call it setting up, but you're going to do the first part of this drawing. So the final part of this assignment is going to look something like this. These are kind of contour line drawings, but they don't have to be contour line drawings. This person has decided that they wanted to really experiment with line, but you're going to end up covering up those lines anyway with full value. So I would not, I would leave it kind of like looser like this. And don't worry so much about the line quality as long as you kind of can place your objects in the composition and to get a full and balanced composition. That's kind of what you're looking for. So you're going to for your final still life drawing, you're going to choose your objects, the objects of your choice, and it's going to be a narrative still life. So you want the drawings to kind of say something about what it is that you're drawing. There should be some sort of content in them, right? So we talked about form and content. So I would revisit that module if you have to, and that assignment to kind of remind yourself what the difference between form, subject, and content are in a work of art. But content basically is what the drawing is about. So this is about pirates. This ends up being like a little bar scene. And then this one is about like baking and confections and sweets. And then this one is about cleaning objects. So you want to you want to think about a couple of topics, and you want to choose very carefully what you're going to do your drawings about. But in the first part of the drawing, I want you to explore, you can explore 1 to 3 ideas. So in this assignment, they only did 1 idea, but if you want to experiment with one to 3, that's fine. I wouldn't do more than 3. I think 1 or 2 is actually better, but if you want to, do a couple, that's fine too. Other topics that people have explored are like femininity, and what was the other one I mentioned? Like technology. You can do sports, you can do like nature, you can do anything really that you want. Sewing, I've seen people do sewing ones, shoes. Just remember that you are going to have to draw the objects that you are choosing. Let's see, what I think I did mention this in here, but you're going to have to draw the objects that you choose in your for your drawing. So make sure that you're comfortable drawing the objects that you choose. Like if you're not comfortable drawing like a really complex machine or something like that, don't choose, technology. Maybe you want to do like hygiene products, right? And you want to do like bottles of shampoo and bars of soap and like a sponge and something like that. Because they are the objects are, you're comfortable drawing the objects, right? I want to say don't not challenge yourself, but don't challenge yourself so much to the point that you're not going to be able to finish the drawing. So just keep that in mind when you are setting up this assignment, that you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're drawing, you're comfortable drawing. You're comfortable drawing the objects, right? Whatever it is that you choose for your drawing or your content, that you are comfortable right here. That's where it says comfortable drawing the objects that you will have to include to clearly convey your idea. So the first part of this assignment, you're going to be doing 12 thumbnails. So here's the setup for your thumbnails. I want you to do 12 like this, and I want you to do 2 that are 6 by 8. All of these are proportionate to your 18 by 24 inch paper. I'm not a math person, so I'm not going to explain that, but 3 by 4 and 6 by 8 are the same proportions as 18 by 24. They're all divisible by one single, they're all divisible by the same numbers if you do the math. You should choose, do you want to do portrait orientation or do you want to do landscape orientation? If you do landscape orientation, you need to make sure that you have things in the bottom of the picture plane and things in the top of the picture plane so that you are excuse me, building up, you're building up a composition, you're creating the illusion of space, and you're creating a spatial hierarchy in the actual drawing. So overlapping, position, shape, object in the picture plane, size, scale, proportion of shape and object in the picture plane, which is all these are all things that we've done in previous assignments. So you can go ahead and revisit those modules or those assignment descriptions if you need to as a review. But you want to make sure that this composition, also an open composition, right? This is an open composition because it's cropped on all sides. Maybe not the top as much as the sides and the bottom, but this I would consider to be an open composition right here because they're using cropping to indicate that there's more space outside of this picture plane, right? Picture plane, edges of the page. So you want to make sure that all parts of the composition are balanced, and that there are no, like, this is kind of a weird space right here. I don't know if, I can't remember if they did or not, but if it were me, I would have moved this bottle over just a little bit, or experimented like with moving this over. And that's another thing. What I want you to make sure that you're doing is keeping these, when you start, well, the thumbnails, sorry, let me go back to the thumbnails. You're going to do 12, and then you're going to take 2 of the 12 that you think are better or the best or working well, and you're going to refine them even more. And then you're going to go and you're going to start to block in large areas of your picture plane. And what I was saying is that when you are starting this, you want to make sure that you are drawing very lightly and you're only gesturing. So here's my here's my little disclaimer here. And here's the image. If you look at this image, we are not aiming for contour line drawings because these are more contour line drawings. But if you look at these images, they start off with an entire picture plane. Every box represents like 5 to 10 minutes. So this is 5 minutes, this is 10 minutes, this is 20, this is 30, this is 40. And you want to leave things in your drawing so that they are easily adjusted. So don't go into super detail in the beginning of the drawing, because if you make a mistake and you have to adjust it, and you are going to adjust it because in the instructions for the next part of the assignment, you are required to adjust your composition based on feedback from your peers and your instructors. So you do not want to put any details that take you so long that you're going to have to like adjust the drawing, like erase something completely, and then, like, don't spend 5 hours on one jar. You want to work all over, you want to work like over the entirety of the page so that so everything is, everything is breathable, adjustable, and nothing is set in stone. Look at the negative spaces, use gestural lines, pay close attention to the contour edges, like, more towards the end, so that you're getting good placement and a good balance in the composition. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to tell you about this drawing is that when you add drawing, you're eventually going to have to add value. When you add value to your drawing, which you are eventually going to have to do to achieve full chiaroscuro, you can use pencil, you can use pen and ink, and you can also use charcoal. If you do use charcoal, you're going to have to, you don't have to, but I highly recommend toning your page. Actually, I want you to tone your page. If you use charcoal, I want you to tone your page ahead of time, because when people start with just using charcoal, the values get kind of wonky and it's really hard to achieve a clear value range. So if you do start in charcoal, you have to tone your page, and I would not use pencil. I would use charcoal, as we did in the previous assignment, to get those to get those tonal values. It is up to you what materials you use for this drawing. It doesn't really, I don't really, it's not, I'm going to leave this up to you. So media of your choice, Vine charcoal, pencil to start with. If you're using ink, but if you are using charcoal, tone your page and only use Vine charcoal in the first part of the drawing. And if you are actually using pen and ink, I also recommend starting, you're going to have to start with pencil, and then you can ink at the end, at the very end, when you have most of the drawing resolved and you're just adding the details. And if that's confusing to you, please reach out to me via email. I'm glad to clarify. I'm glad to meet you on Zoom if you have to ask about that. Okay, I would say the easiest, well, there is no easy, because I don't, it just depends on what you want to use. A lot of people use pencil because they don't want to have to think about it. But if you are using pencil or ink, it doesn't hurt to start on gray paper, or to tone your paper with loose graphite, which I also talk about in the assignment description. So you'll read this and it'll make sense to you. And then if you have questions, you can send me an email. And that's it. So what you have to do for this week is you have a set of 12, 13, 14 thumbnails, 12 that are ideas that explore one to three of your ideas that you want to address in the drawing. And then you take the 2 that you think are working the best, and then you start your in progress drawing. If you are doing charcoal, make sure you tone your paper. You use Vine charcoal only. You do not use compressed charcoal into the very last part of the drawing. If you are using pencil, it would also help to tone your paper, but you can just go, you can just draw on the page. And if you're using pen and ink like Sharpie or Micron pen, it also helps to tone the paper, but you should also start in pencil. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. Oh, actually, I'm gonna open this up just because, let's see, 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm back, sorry. So this is what you're aiming for in your submission. You have your, I think this is 10, but you're gonna do 12. Your 12 smaller thumbnails, and then you're gonna have your 2 larger thumbnails, and then you're gonna have a drawing that is just started in progress. And then you're gonna have your final drawing. This is what the final is gonna be. This is what you're gonna do on the following Sunday, or due for the following Sunday, where you have your drawing rendered in full value. So this was charcoal, I believe. I believe this was lead, but I think maybe they added, I don't know, I think maybe it could have been lead and a little bit of charcoal pencil. This was lead. Let's see. This was lead or graphite. This person used pen. And I would also say, like, this is another way you can do your mark making for the final part of this, not this week, but the next week. You can use any kind of mark making to achieve this value. Scribbles, hatching, here's another one. This is a little bit of a different assignment, but pretty much the same. They just had to do 3 instead of 1, because this was in my in-person class. They used hatching here. But you can see that they started in pencil and then they added Sharpie. I think they also, it was Sharpie. It was like thick and thin Sharpie. This was, they actually just used pencil, but you can do this in ink as well. This is just pencil using Scribble to do value. You can use, this person is achieving full value because they are getting really, really darks and really, really, they're just getting whites. There's no lines here, like we talked about in value. And then they also did one just using charcoal. So that is an option for the last part of your drawing. And I just wanted to show these to you because this is kind of where you're aiming for. So make sure that you stay pretty loose in this drawing because you are going to have to address any changes. And you should, you should just leave them very loose so that they are adjustable until the very end, the very last 20%, I would say, of your drawing. I think I say 30 in the written part, but I think it's about 20. So, okay, I'm going to stop here now. I'm going to stop here. If you guys have questions, email me and I will see you on Canvas.